Hey, welcome to another album review, and today we actually have something a little bit exciting, Innerpartysystem with their self-titled Innerpartysystem, which, fun fact, I learned today, this is the only studio album that they've actually released. They've released a couple of EPs, but this is the only studio album they released. I honestly judged them to be far more influential than apparently they were, or at least like in terms of how big they are, in terms of popularity, because I think that they were pretty influential, just not, big enough and yeah, so essentially, if you don't know Innerpartysystem, this is I discovered their song Don't Stop in just years and years and years ago when I was going through YouTube, and I think I was watching some stuff, some lyric videos or something like that. And this album came out in 2009, I think, or 2009. I think it was 2009. And yeah, well, I do a really good job researching. Don't worry. But yes, essentially, this is like a it's like a rock band, but it's kind of electronic rock band type thing. Okay, like Imagine Dragons, but before their time and actually sounding cooler. Basically, that's what Innerpartysystem. Man, I just compared the Innerpartysystem to Imagine Dragons. People are gonna get upset for that. But yes, essentially, this is sort of an electronic rock band. They use a lot of electronic sounds and everything, especially, like if you have been around for the late 2000s, early 2010s, you will recognize all of like the electronic sounds that this band uses. However, they use it in very interesting ways. For one, the mix is kind of, not so good because of the sounds. Like some of the sounds sound kinda not good, and I think that's kind of the point. It's to sort of give these very digital type vibes, because I mean, as much as we sort of assume digital is around us, all around us today, back in late 2000s, early 2010s, digital wasn't that like big. It was becoming really big, right, because it was a brand new thing, but it wasn't that big. Before that, a lot of things were actually more analog than they were digital. Yeah, a lot of these sounds were very experimental, especially when it came to the digital type thing. And honestly, it's a very good mix. It's a very good fusion between this sort of rocky side, and the electronic side. Again, like, the way I have to like describe this is Imagine Dragons before Imagine Dragons, basically, and I guess less poppy, because I think Imagine Dragons can get a little bit perhaps poppy and a little bit perhaps even simple. I think that the songs here were definitely far more complex than Imagine Dragons, right? They were definitely more interesting, and at least they catch me more, with the exception of the last song of this album, the closer. It's called Home. And it's sort of this atmospheric song, but it's just noise, but not in like the good way, not like Dillinger Escape Plan noise. No, it's just like literally fucking, your TV's doing some weird like fucking digital noise, and you just want to like turn it off because it's fucking annoying, which I didn't understand the inclusion of that song. I'm gonna be completely honest. I think the closer, the previous song, the closer, What We Will Never Know, much better. Honestly, one of the highlights of the album. Much better song to close it on. I think it was a perfect end. I think it was beautiful. I think there wasn't any issue with it. So I don't understand why include an extra song that just was kind of noise. And I guess maybe it was experimental or whatever. I don't know, but it definitely did not. Like, I did not enjoy it. I'm just gonna say that. But yes, other than that, a lot of the song, again, they're just good. In a way, they remind me of like. What was the name? I don't know, like, again, if you have been around in late 2000s, you will definitely have heard a lot of these sounds, right? It's just that this band combines them really well with rock. I find it really interesting because it's sort of like a time capsule, right? It's like, this band, screams like 2009 perfectly, you know what I mean? And they're really good at it. This album is really good at it. I don't even, like, I thought that the band actually was way bigger than apparently they seem to have been, because they only released one studio album and that's it, right? And definitely I think that they were influential, because at least from what I hear online and from what people talk about, like, everyone seems to remember this band, and everyone seems to remember some of their songs, right? Again, Don't Stop is probably like the biggest one, but there was another one, I think, I don't even know, but yeah, like, I know a lot of the songs that people sort of or people like tend to talk about them a lot, right? In terms of influence. Oh yeah, Pendulum. There we go. They're very like Pendulum. If you've ever heard Pendulum, actually, it's probably someone that I also need to cover. It's probably a band that I need to cover. But it's sort of like that sort of electronic rock, right? And it sounds very like 2000s. You know what I mean? Especially like 2008, 2009, 2007, maybe 2010, sort of that period of music. That's what they sound like, right? I was trying to remember the name, finally remembered it. And yeah, essentially, this is that album quintessentially. Now, I will say something, I find it a little bit weird, and they actually have a lot of songs talking about love. I don't know why, but like, What We Will Never Know talks about love, although you can interpret it in other ways than goddammit, than just that, right? You have This Empty Love, it's the name of the song. I think, what was the other song? Everyone Is the Same, I think it also talks about love. Yeah, there's a couple of songs, like it's a very common lyric in this album, so yeah, I don't know why. It didn't bother me necessarily, but I do think that, like, I really like Don't Stop because I think it had a really interesting lyrics, and I think it had an interesting message, right? Saying that lies are entertaining and that's how lives are entertaining and everything. It's like, that was cool, and I expected more of that. So to hear so many songs sort of talk about love, I was like, it could be interesting. But anyway, like, I think that when it comes to this type of music, you're not here because of like the lyrics or whatever. You're here because of the sound, and the sound is really what drives this band, and in my opinion, what drives the uniqueness of them. Again, like, they scream like 2008, 2009. But they do so well, you know what I mean? Like, how, for example, Dream Theater, especially in their earlier albums, when you listen to them, what was the name of the album? I forget. Images and Words, for example. Very good example. You hear the album and you go, yeah, this is 80s rock. Even 80s metal, right? But it's that sound, you know what I mean? Like, you can very easily clock the sound. This is the same. But just like Dream Theater, you listen to the album today and you go, actually, hold up, this album actually holds up pretty well, right? Like, yeah, sure, it screams this era of music, so it's not necessarily like timeless in that regard, but it does it so well that you can still listen to it today and still find it really fresh, right? And the Innerpartysystem is exactly the same. You listen to it and you go, yep, this is 2008, 2009, easily, like, you can very easily clock where the sound comes from, like which era of music the sound comes from, but they do it so well that it's like, yeah, this is still holds up today very well. In fact, like, it's still a very good album, and it's very engaging, right? And honestly, I find it a shame that a lot of the maybe because of influence of a lot of EDM music also becoming popular, like trap or whatever, unfortunately, you don't see these type of songs that much anymore, or at least, like, you didn't see them. Like, I think that a lot of songs got way more simple after this time, especially in pop, like, you used to have Lady Gaga and everything, and then sort of like everything started to be way more toned down, especially because of indie, right? Everything started being a little bit more simple, and, Imagine Dragons happened, basically, right? Like, this band is if Imagine Dragons made interesting songs. Right, I'm kind of shitting on Imagine Dragons too much. Like, I don't mean it. It's just, it's kind of a meme. But well, I mean, they have some good songs. Honestly, as much as they have some overplayed songs, they do have some good songs. But yeah, basically, that's kind of like what this type of sound. It's kind of a shame that it kind of like went away, and because I was sort of excited to sort of see, okay, this is the next evolution, right? What are they gonna do with it? And it just seems that we got more simple and more simple and more simple, which was kind of a shame, because again, and I think that's part of the reason as to why, like, this band didn't exactly stay around for long, it seems. Like, again, I judge them to be way bigger, but apparently they're not. Apparently they seem to be like one of those things where, like, if you were on the internet, you learned about them, but if you were not, you probably don't even know they exist, right? And it's a shame, because again, I think this album actually is really underrated. It's a really good album, and again, I was surprised. Like, some of the mix, to me at least, sounded a little bit rough, right? Especially some of the singing. However, even then, like, because sometimes when it comes to the mixes, when it comes to a lot of weird sounds, it's kind of hard to make them sound good. You know what I mean? Like, that's a very, very specific skill, and it's a skill that I have not seen that many artists, especially artists that deal with like EDM sounds and weird sounds, have been able to pull off, right? Only a handful to me. So I don't blame them too much for that. But yeah, outside of that, like, the songs are really engaging, they're really fun. Again, like, they scream 2009 pretty much, and if you like that sort of era of music, I think you will very likely like this as well. And I find that very, very interesting, honestly. I just, again, honestly, I wish they had made more. I know that they made some EPs, and I'll probably check them out, but I wish they had made more, because I was very excited, like, especially, again, I was more, I knew more the song Don't Stop, and I was kind of excited, okay, what have they done after this album or whatever, and then it's just like, oh, they only released this album, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, so, because I imagined them to have like a very long career. It turns out that their career was like 4 or 5 years long. So yeah, a bit of a shame, but I guess that's how it goes. But yes, as for my 5 meter, honestly, to me, it's a strong 8 out of 10 at the moment. That's what I'm vibing with. It was really cool to sort of go down and relive maybe a little bit of nostalgia, but even outside of nostalgia, again, I think this album pretty holds up. It might not be the most amazing thing, I'm gonna be completely honest. I think that, especially if you, don't like this era of music, you might not like the album, right? Or at least, like, you might not super be into it, but I think the album is pretty solid all around. Like, again, to me, these are Imagine Dragons if they were good, basically. So yeah, 8 out of 10. I'll see you tomorrow with another album.